Go now before it's too late. Welcome to MojoTravels, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 places to visit before tourism ruins them. Are you a fan of our videos? Be sure to subscribe to MojoTravels and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at unique and enticing travel destinations that, based on past and current trends, are likely to have their appeal seriously diminished by excessive tourism in the years to come. So please remember to be respectful to these destinations in every way. Number 10. Svalbard, Norway. For years, Iceland was the trendy place to go, but there's been noticeable pushback from locals there against the sheer volume of tourists. If we had to identify the next Iceland, both in terms of natural northern beauty and a place soon to be overrun by travelers, it's the archipelago of Svalbard. This Arctic wilderness draws people in with its picturesque, dramatic landscape populated by polar bears, glaciers, and old mining towns. It is breathtaking, but part of its magic is the scarcity of people. For now, that remains true, but as travelers look for increasingly extreme and dramatic destinations, that could soon change. Then again, maybe the cold will be enough to keep the numbers down. Number 9. Ambergris Caye, Belize. Belize has done relatively modest numbers in terms of international visitors. And for those already in the know, that was just perfect. This was their tropical getaway free from crowds. But in 2018, Belize was described as the, quote, Caribbean's fastest growing destination. And if there's one place that you should visit before it becomes totally overstuffed, it's Ambergris Caye. The country's largest island, Ambergris Caye is home to picture-perfect beaches. It's the ideal place for diving or just kicking back and sipping on a fruity beverage. Despite growing crowds, a laid-back atmosphere survives. But for how long? Well, we'd recommend visiting sooner rather than later. Number 8. Giethoorn, the Netherlands. You likely haven't heard of this tiny village in the Dutch province of Overijssel, but we suspect that might soon change. It remains a largely pedestrian-only town. And because of its position at the center of Overijssel's canal system, it's even been dubbed Little Venice. Add to that over 150 bridges and the quaint architecture of the little farmhouses, and you can begin to understand the appeal. Unfortunately, much like the real Venice, Giethoorn is beginning to find itself with a lot of tourists. It's estimated that the tiny town is visited by somewhere in the ballpark of 150,000 to 200,000 tourists a year. And that's just from China. As word of this uniquely old-fashioned destination spreads, overcrowding feels inevitable. Number 7. San Blas Islands, Panama. Panama is a country with a lot to offer. As tourism continues to grow in popularity, however, an authentic, more old-school Panamanian experience can become harder to find. On the San Blas Islands, however, major infrastructure has largely yet to be established, making it a rustic retreat perfect for anyone who really wants an authentic, no-frills island experience. Thankfully, the area is largely protected from major developments and is well on its way to becoming something of a hotspot for ecotourism. That's great, but as travelers increasingly skew towards the hype of less commercialized travel, the modest accommodations offered on the various inhabited islands of San Blas could very well become overcrowded, compromising what makes it so special. Number 6. Folegandros, Greece. When it comes to the Greek islands, recent history has taught us that tourism can quickly become a major problem. One need only look at the island of Santorini to understand how and why. Sadly, now that we're living in the social media age, an island can undergo such an oversaturated transformation quicker than ever. All it takes is a few well-received Instagram posts from influencers. Well, Folegandros is well on its way to becoming the next Santorini. It boasts similar architecture and views, beautiful beaches, crystal clear water, and the incredible cuisine that the Greek islands are known for, but so far without the crowds. Better book your tickets soon. Number 5. Tbilisi, Georgia. Georgia is not usually the first country that many tourists think of in Europe, yet in recent years, Tbilisi has been popping up on many must-visit lists. Despite the country's difficult political history, it just keeps getting more popular, and for good reason. Its capital, Tbilisi, is rich in cultural history. It's also become home to a number of unique boutique hotels, which are part of a larger burgeoning creative scene. With its long history of winemaking, distinct cuisine, and beautiful architecture, it's just got a lot to offer in terms of what modern travelers want. And for the time being, that includes a sense that it's still undiscovered. But with the city receiving ever-increasing attention, we have our doubts as to how long it can retain that authentic vibe. Number 4. Fernando de Noronha, Brazil. Not every corner of Brazil feels as if it's yet been exploited by tourism. Yet. One of the best examples of this is Fernando de Noronha, an archipelago consisting of 21 mostly uninhabited islands. In order to preserve the fragile ecosystem, the government only lets a limited number of visitors enter the main island each day, and even then at a fee. So how is it that tourists are going to ruin it? Well, Fernando de Noronha is considered to have the best beaches in all of Brazil, if not the world. With the increased interest in visiting obscure, untouched, and isolated destinations, Fernando de Noronha seems destined to land on a lot of bucket lists. And while regulations will hopefully continue to protect the environment somewhat, the total number of visitors allowed per year is destined to inexorably grow, with all of the drawbacks. Number 3. Antarctica. There are few places on Earth more unique than the planet's southernmost continent, Antarctica. Antarctica has become increasingly accessible in recent years. There's been a noticeable upward trend in the number of tourists since around 2010. Relative to other destinations, Antarctica still receives few tourists, but given the nature of the destination and its appeal, every added body counts. Visitors traveling to Antarctica and its offshore waters need to respect very strict regulatory guidelines to protect the environment. The problem is, Antarctica doesn't have the infrastructure to support many people in a given calendar year. And if larger tourism vessels start visiting regularly, well, the environmental factors that threaten the area are only likely to be exacerbated. Plus, part of the appeal of Antarctica is its haunting beauty and desolation. Number 2. EmiliaRomagna Italy. Italy is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. For lovers of food and smaller crowds, the Emilia-Romagna region has long served as an escape from the often stifling qualities of Italian tourism. Bologna is a city that, until recently, has been frequently passed over by tourists with a time limit. Smaller cities such as Parma, Modena, and Reggio Emilia offer an even cozier, almost small-town vibe, but with local culinary and wine specialties that will make you want to settle in the region. Unfortunately, the masses seem to be catching on, especially now that foodie and wine culture has become so popular. Bologna in particular is finally being recognized as the culinary mecca it actually is. So get there ASAP. Number 1. Kep and Koh Rong, Cambodia. For decades, young people have been heading to Southeast Asia for lengthy backpacking trips made possible by the low cost of living. But the number of visitors just keeps intensifying. 2018 was a new record for the country, surpassing 6 million visitors for the first time. Yet we wouldn't have called Kep or Koh Rong must-visits, at least not until recently. Kep is a small, sleepy seaside retreat that previously had little to offer the average traveler. But nowadays, that's exactly what some people are looking for. Recent years have seen it quickly transforming into a tourist hotspot, complete with boutique hotels. Koh Rong is an island that similarly appeals to travelers looking for a more back-to-basics experience. But it's similarly threatened by its own popularity, with the ever-growing presence of tourists encouraging aggressive development. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MojoTravels. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.